Hey guys, Louise here with Red Pointy Dog Training, back for another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Today, we're going to dig deep into the most important consideration for all dogs, really, but especially dogs that struggle with reactivity, anxiety, or aggression. But it's not a training skill, it's not a special tool, and it's not correcting a behavior either. It's meeting your dog's needs. Now, you're going to want to stay tuned as we dig deep into several areas to make sure your dog's needs are being met, because sometimes this alone will resolve reactivity. All right, let's get to it. Hey guys, it's Louise. I just wanted to let you know real quick that there is a workbook to go along with today's episode. Head over to redpointydog.com/19 to get your hands on the workbook that goes along with the episode. This will give you prompts to journal and write down notes as we discuss together about the topics of today. My hope is that this helps you come away with more knowledge and understanding of the skills and ideas that we talk about together in these episodes. Okay, head to redpointydog.com/19, get your workbook, and then come back and finish the episode. Okay, let's get going. Now, I want you to consider for a moment why your dog behaves the way that they do. More often than not, dogs will display behaviors because they're fulfilling a need, but can cause conflict between you and your dog. It's important to remember that dogs are dogs. We have to remember that they have needs that are unique to their species and their individual self. So today we're going to take a high-level view at meeting your dog's needs. We'll be taking a look at just a few of the important categories, such as health, nutrition, physical exercise, safety, and mental exercise. To start, we're going to take a deep look at the health category. So you could think of health or veterinary. This is one category of need that is pretty common. Most people understand that it's important for our dogs to be healthy. One of the things that is on this category that's really important is preventative care. So does your dog have an annual physical exam? Now, this alone can be stressful, especially if your dog is sensitive and uncomfortable at the vet. So even though this may be difficult for you and your dog, it is so important that you create a plan with your veterinary team so that your dog can still have that physical exam from your veterinarian. Maybe that should be a topic for another chat. So preventative care is super important. You want to make sure that your dog is in good health, that they don't have any, tick-borne illnesses, any injuries, scrapes, cuts, bruises, those kinds of things. Another consideration for this is pain management, and this is arguably the most important piece of this category. I can't even tell you how many dogs I work with that display behavior problems because they're in pain. And oftentimes when the pain is resolved, so too does the behavior, but not always, because sometimes the dog learns through their experience that they need to defend themselves to stay pain-free. So if you have a dog who has a sudden change in behavior or their behavior has suddenly become much worse, it's absolutely imperative that you have a conversation with your veterinarian. Send them videos, take notes every day for a week, and then send them to them. The more information that they'll have, the better they can help you with your dog and ruling out whether your dog is dealing with a sudden onset of pain or chronic pain. And if your dog is senior or older, they are likely dealing with some degree of arthritic pain. Arthritis is so very common in dogs of all ages. So definitely be thinking about having that conversation with your vet team to see what's best for your dog. And of course, it's important that if your dog has any diseases or they're dealing with any illnesses, that we are treating those and making sure that they are well managed by your vet staff and your vet team. My dog has hypothyroidism, and it affects every aspect of his life. It affects his diet, it affects his activity, it affects his appetite, his energy, all kinds of things. And so if your dog has any particular disease or illness, it's going to affect their behavior. And so it's important to remember that until we can manage those illnesses or reduce your dog's pain or provide your dog with the opportunity to become healthy if that's possible, that it may affect your dog's behavior in the long run. We can't always meet every single need, but what's important is that we try our best. The next category is diet and nutrition. So, this is your dog's meals, right? What is your dog eating? But I want you to consider too, does your dog like their food and do they eat it? If your dog's a grazer and they skip meals every now and again, that may be normal for your dog, but it may be worth digging into a little bit more and seeing if you can figure out why. Do they have something going on in the health category? Do you need to have a conversation with your vet? Are they just not interested in the food? Maybe they just don't like it. Maybe it's not very palatable. Maybe there's something going on with their teeth and it's uncomfortable for them to chew kibble. I could go on and on, but I'm not a vet, so I won't. My point is we want your dog to enjoy their meals, and it's important that they eat their food so that they get proper nutrition from a well-formulated diet. Another really important piece to consider for this category is if your dog is of a proper weight for their age and for their breed, because those two things are really important. Pet obesity is very common. And, I know both of my dogs have struggled with their weight at some point. Piper is currently struggling with her weight. We're trying to get her down. I think we need maybe another pound or two. And it's hard. It's hard when my dogs are older and their exercise is limited. It's hard when my favorite thing to do is train my dogs, and that involves food. It could involve toy play, but we have to keep that to a minimum for her health as well. So there's a lot to consider and balance when you're dealing with this category of meeting your dog's diet and nutrition needs. I want you to remember too that we want to feed to proper condition. So if your dog is underweight or overweight, it's important that we adjust their food to get the proper condition, again, for your dog's age and for their breed. If your dog has a dull coat or they have brittle nails, or if their GI tract is struggling, if they have, you know, if their, poops aren't as pretty as maybe they should be, um, that may be a problem from your dog's diet. And so if it isn't giving you the results you want, if it isn't providing your dog with something palatable they enjoy eating, that they don't have any problems consuming, that their coat is healthy and looks good, then it might be worth considering a switch. And if you're considering a switch, you've got to talk to your veterinarian, because I'm not your nutritionist. I am your dog trainer. The next category that is pretty obvious is physical exercise. Physical exercise is your dog getting their body moving. This is so important. It's so important for your dogs, and it's so important for us. I've come to learn with my dog Monzo over the last year how important physical exercise is for his gut health. He needs to keep his body moving, or things get stagnant and he struggles because he has irritable bowel disorder. But for those of you with younger dogs, it is just as important for digestion as it is for their mental health. So physical exercise could be taking your dog for a run, could be taking your dog for a walk. If your dog likes to play fetch, if your dog likes to play tug, these are things that are physical exercise as well. I'm just going to take a quick side path here to tell you that if your dog likes tug, please play tug with them. You are not encouraging aggression. You are not increasing the opportunity for your dog to be aggressive. What's important is that there are rules around tug, and that you can maintain the ability to communicate with your dog during this game. We don't want them to get so overstimulated that they don't know what they're doing. But if they're enjoying it, let's find a safe opportunity and a safe way for them to engage with that play. The thing about physical exercise is that it needs to actually be exercise and tire your dog's body. So if you're taking your dog for a walk around the neighborhood and your dog is reactive, when you come home, is your dog restful? Are they like, ooh, that was good. I'm going to take a nap. Or are they pacing around the house, tanking up on water? And do they take a long time to settle down after coming back from that physical exercise? Again, whether that's a walk or a run or a hike. If when your dog comes home or, returns to rest after physical exercise, if they aren't tired, if they're still going bonkers around the house, or they take a long time to relax and settle down, then that physical exercise probably isn't appropriate for your dog. And so I work with so many dogs that chuck it is their physical exercise, and it's just not appropriate for them. It's not tiring them out. You're creating a physical athlete that you can't keep up with, and the dog isn't getting proper exercise for themselves as an individual. I have worked with many more dogs that chuck it was perfect and exactly what they needed. Always with a warm up first, though. But anyway, so really ask yourself, is this really exercising my dog, or is this just hyping my dog up? And like I mentioned before, all dogs are individuals, so that's something you are going to have to figure out for yourself, but I'm happy to chat with you more about it in the comments below. The next piece of meeting your dog's needs is safety, but it's also security. And these are slightly different things. So if your dog is safe from physical harm, you know that, but do they? So safety is our responsibility. It's providing the dog with a safe place and making sure that we're advocating for our dog and keeping them safe from physical harm. But security is making sure that your dog actually feels safe. So if you're walking your dog in the neighborhood and children are running around and you know you're going to make sure that those kids don't come up and approach your dog, they're safe, but they aren't secure. They aren't feeling safe. So it's really important that we're meeting both of these needs. I feel like this is one of the most overlooked category is safety and security, because what's important is how your dog is feeling in that moment as well. So some things to consider are, is your dog safe from the other animals in the home? And do they feel safe about the other animals in the home? If you have intra-household aggression or resource guarding, there may be some work you have to do there to make sure that your dog is feeling safe and is being safe. If you have children in your home and they're unattended and they are allowed to interact with your dog, is your dog safe and do they feel safe? Really ask yourself these questions. What about a neighbor's dog? Maybe it's a neighbor's dog on the other side of the fence. How's your dog feeling about that situation? So again, maybe they're physically safe, but if they don't feel secure around a trigger, then it may be important for your dog's initial plan is giving them that distance from those triggers so that they can feel safe again. Now, the last category we're going to talk about today is mental exercise. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this one because I have a whole other video where I talk about more things. I'll put it up here in the corner for you guys, and I'll link it in the description below. But mental exercise is brain work. It's things like training, food puzzles, brain games, and foraging. Foraging is a species typical behavior. Foraging is something all dogs want to do. Maybe your dog doesn't know how to do it, but once they learn, they're very interested. So tell me in the comments below if you guys what mental exercise games you do with your dogs, and let's share about what works for your dog, and maybe we can all learn from each other some different ideas and games that we can do with our dogs. Now, like I said before, when we start meeting with a new client, the first thing that we do is we analyze what are your dog's needs and are you effectively meeting those needs as best you can. Now, I'll tell you right now, I live in an apartment and I have 2 cattle dogs. I can't meet their needs every single day of the week, but I can do my absolute best. And that's all we're trying to do. And when we know better, we do better. Maybe there are opportunities you're not sure of yet. Maybe you haven't been able to zoom out and look at this from a different perspective. That's where I can help. So again, if you guys have questions about what your dog's needs are, tell me in the comments below. But I do hope that this has helped you be able to maybe pause for just a moment and really say, am I meeting my dog's needs as best I can? And if not, here's an action item for you. I want you to try 2 new things this week that you haven't tried with your dog before to meet their needs in any of the categories that we've talked about today. And when you have, share about it in the comments and we'll hold you accountable. Thanks so much for joining me today for another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. I hope you guys found this information helpful. Please tell your dog I said hello and give them a treat for me, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye for now.